Hello and welcome to ET Auto's Startup Adda, a station for innovation. This is a platform that brings together the innovators, the experts, and the fund providers or the investors. Uh, this is a platform also for those who want to take a plunge in the mobility startup space. We and the experts and the new age entrepreneurs provide enough ideas and the ways and means you can start off in a mobility space. In the today's episode of Startup Adda, this is brought to you by ET Auto Brand Connect Initiative, and the participant is a startup or an electric two-wheeler manufacturer which was formed in 2019 and it is operated from Chennai. Let me welcome Vilas Tank, the founder of Aventose Energy. Thank you, Vilas, for joining ET Auto Startup Adda. Before we start the conversation, freewheeling conversation, and introduce the expert for the episode, I'll invite you to give your presentation and let the viewers know what actually you are trying to do. What's your background? How did you land up as an entrepreneur? Where were you working? What kind of experience you have so far? And why did you find it compelling enough to take a plunge in EV space?
Thanks, Nabil, for the introduction, and nice to be here in the show. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vilas Tank, and I'm the CEO and founder of Aventose Energy. We are a EV startup based out of Chennai. We were incorporated in May 2019, and our name itself defines or reflects our vision of the company. Aventose is an acronym for a venture to save Earth. So that's what Aventose stands for. And our vision is to facilitate fast adoption of electric vehicles in India and across the world. And the way we are planning to do this is by um, launching products with USPs of for the product, as well as our company USPs, which will help remove the roadblocks which currently exist in existing solutions, and so which will help the product to spread or adopt rapidly across where the target segment. So about our journey, we initially I was working in manufacturing and research and development for last 20 years in US and in India as well as in Europe. And through this experience, I have gained very detailed knowledge of product development and also sales and aftermarket service. The team which we have is a very strong team, a very complementary team, which in which people have experience in mechanical, firmware, electrical, software, manufacturing, sales. So all the skill sets needed are in-house. The journey of Aventos basically started early in, much before May 2019. As I have always been passionate about planet sustainability, and I was part of former Vice President of US, Al Gore, Mr. Al Gore's Climate Reality Project. And I was part of a leadership team where we were responsible for spreading awareness about climate and what's happening and what all we can do to reverse the negative effects. So after spending few years spreading the awareness, we thought it's time to actually take some action and do something about it ourselves. And that's how me and my colleagues we started this venture. We were also passionate about startups, and this opportunity basically helped us put together our passion and also our experience together to bring to the customers these products. So in Aventos, the product portfolio, and of course we will talk about the USPs in coming few minutes. But the products which we are launching are three wheelers, which includes two scooters and one motorcycle, a passenger rickshaw, and a loading rickshaw, which will be launching in next 2 years. From the day one, we had focused on the roadmap. So as the product roadmap and the product portfolio. So from the beginning, we were working on these products in parallel so that we can use the synergies of common platform, chassis, electrical components, which will so all the work was done upfront in the last 3 years, so that in coming 2 years there will be minimal time, resource, and money spent on launching products quickly. So that's about the company and the product portfolio. About the USPs, why people should buy our product and what's different about our products. First of all, regarding the target segment, the products which we are launching are targeted at or equivalent of 100 to 125 cc market, which basically is the mass market in India, which is around you can say 85 to 90% of Indian two-wheeler market. So the products which we have developed have the same performance and also same versatility, durability, and reliability of the products which are which we are trying to replace, namely the petrol equivalents. Um, the USPs which are helping us uh, make this transition easy for customers is our vehicles are very safe. We have been testing them for last 2 years to make sure that they withstand Indian weather conditions. We have multi-layer of safety involved, which includes smart BMS, smart charger, and also a power distribution or PDU device included, which can cut off the vehicle and the power supply of the from the cells in case there is any anomaly. Also, we are using very safe charge and discharge cycles, which will not just be safe but also elongate the life of the battery and the vehicle. The third thing which we are doing is we also have a safe mode in the vehicle. So, apart from the battery safety, our vehicle itself has multiple layers where if there is before a manufacturer's cutoff limit, we ourselves put the vehicle in safe mode so that with the reduced duty cycle so that the customer can know what's happening in the vehicle and take it to the nearest service station. And the fourth thing is uh, our component manufacturer are using very high quality cells, components, and automated manufacturing processes which will guarantee very high level quality of the battery. Uh, so these are all the things which we are doing to, and last 2 years we have been testing the product without any event. So that is
Okay.
safe.
Thank you,
Uh,
Vilas. Thank you so much. Looks like a very promising product. Ladies and gentlemen, before I invite the expert for the day, let me tell you that today you can ask all the questions related to your vehicle, whether you should go for a swapping battery option or you should go with a inbuilt battery option two-wheeler. And what are the reasons probably for electric two-wheelers catching fire? We have seen a lot of stories coming around. You can ask those questions. We'll ask, and the expert for the day will take all those and any other questions. If you have, you can post in the comment box in whichever platform you are watching it right now. If you are watching on Twitter, you can send a tweet to us tagging ET Auto. So let me invite the expert for the day, Mr. Ashok Bhasin. You know that he is very regular at this show. He is the global C-suite leader and a mentor to many mobility startups, and he is the former head of sales and marketing at country's largest two-wheeler manufacturing firm, Hero Motocorp. He has various other global experience at the senior management level at consumer electronic companies and other. Thank you so much, Ashokji, for joining it here to a startup Adda today, a station for innovation. You heard Vilas talk about his product. What would be your initial comments and questions? Over to you.
Thank you, Nabil, for inviting me to be a part of the discussion today. And thank you, Vilas, for the introduction. Nice to hear about your vision and your passion and how you're bringing it all together. Uh, I think I'd like to learn more about it because uh, while the EV space is extremely exciting, and I do believe that the two-wheeler EV is a very compelling and a meaningful business opportunity, apart from the fact that it will also have a very positive environmental impact. But Vikas, your roadmap from what you called out, that you're looking at five products, two scooters, one motorcycle, one passenger rickshaw, one loading vehicle, etc. While I understand that from a roadmap perspective, you're trying to harmonize, uh, I would like to learn more about how are you prioritizing your go-to-market strategy. You said from a product standpoint, you're looking at a 100, 125cc equivalent product. But tell us a little bit more about, is it scooter, is it motorcycle, is it gender agnostic, is it more urban, is it more semi-urban usage, is it more to carry load? Uh, who is your bullseye consumer? And what kind of numbers are you looking at in the first 1, 2, and 3 years? I would like to get some contours around that so that I can relate to your vision and your dream a little bit better. So that's my opening sort of comment, Nabil and Vilas. I turn it over back to Vilas.
Thanks, Ashok, for the question. So, before I can comment about our product portfolio and go-to-market strategy and more details about the product, let me start by saying how we actually came up with this, the specs of the vehicles and the portfolio. We conducted before actually starting with the product development process. We spent around 6 months doing a very detailed voice of customer in various parts of India, tier one cities, tier two cities, tier three cities, and we tried to really understand why do people buy motorcycle, why do people buy scooter. Different people may have different reasons in tier one, tier two, and tier three cities. Why males prefer certain vehicle, why females prefer certain vehicles, also at age and different people who do different kind of work. So what we basically took all this feedback and we came up with the first product, which is S110. And this is it's a product with 100-kilometer range and with 60-kilometer max speed. The second one is a scooter, which is called S125. That one is more aspirational vehicle. The first one is more minimal viable product. The second one is more aspirational, which can we can say is a more equivalent of Activa 125cc. It has a range of 150 kilometer and 80 kilometer maximum speed. The third vehicle is M125. It's a 125cc motorcycle, which we can say is more equivalent to Pulsar 125 or Splendor 125. So all the features in the vehicle, like for example, even for the scooter, what we found that um, many people in the village also want to buy scooter because they don't want to deal with the gear, or they don't want, older people, they don't want to lift their legs, for scooter it's very easy for them to sit. Also they want some room to keep stuff in the footrest area like they do in the scooter. But they couldn't buy the scooter because of the roads we have in tier 2 and tier 3, the potholes, the mud roads, and for which they needed bigger tires and higher ground clearance, so all the benefits which Splendor provides. So what we have done is during the interviews, we have collected the benefits of scooter and benefits of motorcycle, and we have clubbed them together and formed the vehicle in the shape which it looks like now. So it's a scooter with a bigger tire and higher ground clearance. Yet the seat height is 1 inch shorter than the existing 125cc scooters, so that Indian females with average height of 5 feet can easily sit on the vehicle. So who are we targeting with our vehicles is whoever buys Activa and Splendor currently. Um, it is gender agnostic, both for males, females, micro entrepreneurs, people who deliver groceries, people who deliver milk, people who have larger families, couple with 2 kids. It may not look so in the pictures. It is a little bit of a bigger vehicle, so the seat is longer. It can accommodate the whole family. Generally, people who will buy our vehicle, this vehicle will be their primary vehicle. It is not a vehicle which they will have along with their car. Um, so it will be something which people will use for their professional use as micro entrepreneurs, as multi utility vehicle, as well as their family use. So um, we did develop the vehicle for B2C, frankly speaking, but considering the detailed VOC we have done and the needs we are meeting, lot of e-commerce companies and fleets have actually reached out to us, because when they saw the vehicle, they said, this is what we have been actually waiting for. Because nobody wants to invest in, everyone is looking for a light capex model, so they want people to have vehicles which they can use for personal as well as for professional use, and our vehicle does both.
So
I
your
hope.
form factor, sorry to interrupt. Uh, I'm not particularly clear, and you must be obviously knowing it better. So you said motorcycle and scooter, and then you said it is actually like a scooter. You can put things in front. So if it is a crossover or a cross through type of a form factor, then how are you distinguishing your scooter to motorcycle? Then is it not really a new concept? Well, new meaning it's been tried before, but it has not been made commercially successful by any venture. It is not unknown, as you know. The non-glorified version of it is actually a moped. I say non-glorified because it is low power, low ticket, etc. Uh, a moped sometimes may not have the same shan as a Splendor and an Activa, but moped is a form factor. But it is small wheelbase, small wheels, low load carrying factor. But it is a crossover. You can put something in front, but then it doesn't have the footrest. So you are saying you will put something with a bigger footrest. So it's actually a bigger footrest scooter, and then with the wheelbase and length more than a motorcycle. I'm just trying to understand how are you distinguishing the form factor, or is it really one new form factor and you don't need to call it a scooter or a motorcycle? I'm not sure. You know your product better.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess we just call it S110, because if we try to call it a scooter or a motorcycle, people generally get confused and they want to buy this one or that one. But when we say it's S110, you are right that vehicles like this have been there in the past, but maybe they have not been successful. But the times have changed, the requirements have changed. What we have developed is specifically for India. The way vehicle looks like is it is a scooter with bigger 17-inch tires, similar to Splendor, or maybe Splendor has 18-inch, but some of the motorcycles have 17-inch tires. Um, so there is a lot of leg room in the footrest area, but at the same time, there is a separate footrest where people, if they are keeping storing material between their legs, then they can keep their legs out like a motorcycle. So yes, it is a cross. And what we were not in the beginning trying to say we want to make a scooter or motorcycle. We just looked at the feedback which we received, and we put them together, and this is how the vehicle ended up looking. So
What's
what
the
we
weight
say
of?
is
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you. Please go ahead.
it is best of both the worlds, providing the benefit of scooter and motorcycle.
Yeah. What's the weight of the product and what kind of battery power are you looking at and what kind of life of battery are you looking at?
So the S110 is around 114 kgs, including the battery. It's a 2 kilowatt battery, and we are further trying to reduce it to 112 kgs. So it will be very close to a Splendor and Activa. The 3 kilowatt. So there are two versions: 2 kilowatt and 3 kilowatt. 2 kilowatt will give a range of 100. 3 kilowatt will give a range of 120, 150 kilometers. S110 will be 114 and or 112 kgs, and S125 will be uh, probably 4 or 5 kgs more than that.
Is your battery fungible? Your 2 kilowatt and 3 kilowatt battery, are they fungible? Can you put one in the other model? Does the consumer have the choice to
Yes,
make and flexibility?
yes. So the battery, the footprint is same. So width and length is same. Only height differs. So you can remove a 2 kilo battery and put a 3 kilowatt battery, and you will get a different vehicle. So it can be done, and yeah, it is very flexible. So it
What is
can
the
be
price
done.
difference? What is the price difference between the two?
So S110 will be 90,000 with FAME subsidy. In states with the state subsidy, it may come to around 80,000 rupees, and the S125 will be 1 lakh rupees, and it will come to around 90,000, or actually maybe 85 to 90, yeah, 90,000 in states with state subsidies.
And these are going to work on the battery swapping model or battery as a service, or all cost included? Or are you going to give a modular option that you buy 70,000 without the battery and then you add battery as a service? How are you looking at positioning this and how are you planning to commercialize this? And is your battery sort of interoperable? Is it standard? Will it be fungible with other models of other companies, whether it's other players like all the players that are in the market and many more that will enter by the time you come? How are you looking at some of those standardization and interoperability things?
Yeah, great. So actually, when we started 3 years back, we wanted to, of course, we did a lot of research at that time, and we wanted to make a vehicle which gives lot of flexibility in terms of swapping option, fixed charging option, as well as just flexibility, portable battery and portable charger. You can charge it at home or any place, your office. So in recent times, of course, there could be questions about that, but that's how it was designed. So we give all the option, and coincidentally the battery size which we have locked down at that time, 2 years back, are the same battery size which now multiple players are coming up with battery swapping solution. So our vehicle can work with any of the swapping solutions which are coming out in the market, because when it comes to the battery area, we have given enough room or space that multiple battery shapes and sizes can be accommodated. Of course, we will have to do the integration testing before we launch in the market. But whatever big players are coming in the market now, those batteries we have tested, and it can be used for swapping model. Secondly, the vehicle can be charged as it is with the battery in the vehicle, and you can pull out the charging cable and charge the vehicle in a public charging station. So that's the second way of charging. And the third one, you can pull out the battery, you can pull out the charger and take it to home or office or a restaurant and a hotel. So what we say is the holistic approach, or to make the adoption easier, we have removed all the what we feel were the burdens of charging, or so we have made it really flexible for people, because we don't feel that all these charging modes will exist. Which one may be more prominent than the other, only time will tell. Maybe some segments B2B will depend on B2 swapping more. Maybe in villages, till the charging infrastructure reaches, people will charge the vehicle directly or charge the battery, a portable battery in their houses. So we did not want charging methodology to become a bottleneck for adoption of our vehicles. So we have given all the flexibility.
And what kind of volumes are you looking at in the first 1, 2, and 3 years?
The first year we are looking at 5,000 this fiscal year. Um, and the reason for that is, and I can also share with you the phases how we are planning to expand. First 3 months, when we launch in July, we will be only launching in Chennai, and we have our manufacturing here. We will have our service R&D team, everyone here. In 3 months, we will try to solve, work very closely with our partners and the customers, both B2B and B2C, and solve all the problems, debug everything. Once we are satisfied, then we will, in phase two, go to uh, tier 1 cities with state subsidies. This includes Delhi, Ahmedabad, Pune, Calcutta, um, Bangalore. There is no subsidy, state subsidy, but we may still go there as the adoption rate is very high in Bangalore. So these key cities we will go, where we will have easy access to quick service response. And once we are conveniently there, and we have formed a good base, then we would like to go in tier 2 cities of states with state subsidies, so that we always have that price you know comfortness compared to the petrol vehicle. So these are the three phases we are trying to expand. So 5,000 units in first year, second year around 10 to 15,000, third year 50,000. Um, but in fourth and fifth year, we are looking for much faster exponential growth, hoping that we would have identified good respect for ourselves in the market. Brand will be established, the quality will be established, and then we can grow exponentially. So fifth year, we are trying to have a market share of 5%, and 5% of the total two-wheeler market. Very ambitious, but we don't think that this is something which we want to do. I mean, of course, we want to do it. It's a big market opportunity, but this needs to be done because we are, one of our main goal and vision is to help facilitate the world achieve 2030 IPCC Paris Agreement targets, which is basically to reduce carbon emissions by 50% by 2030. So going big is the only way to achieve that target.
What kind of margin profile are you looking at?
The margins will be, so we are hoping to break even in 12 months um, after selling 5,000 units. And the reason for that is, like we said earlier, all the skill set is in house, and we have designed the vehicle in such a way. It took us a lot of time to make the vehicle very simplistic, minimal viable product. We don't have many bells and whistles. So for us, it will be easy to achieve break even. And by fifth year, or maybe by third year onwards, we are looking for 15% margin. And this will come not just by selling in India, but we also hope to be in Europe pretty soon. The vehicle from the day one, actually, we have been benchmarking not just for Indian vehicles. We have benchmarked our vehicle with European vehicles also. We have been developing the vehicle from scratch to sell in Europe from the day one. We are working with a Spanish company which is helping us to prepare for certification of the vehicle right from the beginning during the design process. So the reason I say 15% year three is combination of Indian and export market.
What kind of capital expenditure are you looking at to meet the volumes that you expect to do in FY24? I'm skipping FY23 because that's a start in the middle of the year. You're launching probably a few months away, so you're really going to participate in the middle of the year. But your year two, which is the first full fiscal FY24, to meet the volume requirements of that year, which you indicated, what kind of capital expenditure are you looking at, and how does it stack up in terms of will you break even with a small, frugal manufacturing facility? Will you outsource? Are you putting in depreciation? I don't know what's the capital expenditure profile that you have. There is obviously upfront product development, then there is capital expenditure, which is capitalizing of that, and then there is manufacturing facility. I don't know what your manufacturing strategy is it in-house, is it outsourced, etc. And then there is the go-to-market expenditure. Just help us understand a little bit about the financials of the business, how it is looking like. It's great to know that you'll break even, but just for everybody to learn how you can break even in year one, how does the expenditure profile work? Uh, I'd like to get a little bit of sense of that.
Sure. So
And of course,
the
tell us about the value chain. You will make money. Will there be distributors? Will there be dealers? Will it be direct sell? Will anybody else make money? Will your suppliers and selling partners make money, or only you will make money? And what will happen to them?
No, no, actually, definitely only this will only work. That's why we call it a holistic approach that everyone needs to make money.
Sure.
The dealership channel is a very important channel. That's how we plan to go to market, and we are in talks. We during the 6 month voice of customer, dealer was a very important customer for us. Who we talk to. So dealership channel is how we are going to go, but I will actually start with our manufacturing. I think maybe that will help us. So we have a team of 10 engineers. What we do is the architecture of all the components is designed in-house um, on a high level, and we generate the specs of all the components. Then we started working with our manufacturing partners, which are either MNCs or tier one suppliers as of now, very strong partners technically. So, with the help of these manufacturing partners, we have developed the components. We are not going for very high investment initially. We will be moving in to a rented facility, which is a 20 that we the whole plan, including the product design, is modular. So manufacturing is also modular. The plant is actually 27,000 square feet, but we plan to take it in phases, which is 17,000 square feet first. As the volume grows, then we will take another 10,000. We think first 2 years this rented facility will be good enough for us. The manufacturing line which we have designed ourselves is also a modular line. It is a 25-meter long line which is semi-automatic. We won't put lot of automation from day one because the volumes will be low. So the takt times doesn't need to be too short. So we have a 25-meter assembly line, but in that line we will be putting only 5 assembly stations. And these assembly stations are also designed because we designed the vehicle from scratch. The fixturing, assembly stations was done right in the beginning. And this will give us 500 vehicles per month volume, this line. And it is designed so that we can scale up the line. We can begin with 5 assembly stations, go up till 12, assembly stations, which will help us to reach 5,000 units per month volume. So, and then of course we will automate the line. Currently, it will be more of a semi-automatic, pushing the vehicle manually with the conveyor. So what we have done is we have spaced or paced our investment. Um, First year we are looking for 35 crores, which will take care of our, the development of the product is done. For especially S110, it is ready to launch. All the R&D is done. Certification is in the process. It will be ready to sell. So all the investment for that one is taken care of. Manufacturing, working capital, and sales and marketing expenses is what we are looking for next 1 year, which is 35 crores. Like I said, this includes capex, this includes working capital, this also includes sales and marketing cost for next 1 year. For the second year, there will be capex, slight increase in capex because the line from the beginning is designed to scale um, to 5,000 units per month. And once we scale, we can also replicate, cut, copy, paste the line and have a parallel line in the. So, but most of our money in the second year will be for working capital, as the raw material and the finished goods. But capex requirement in second year will not be much.
And when you said you will break even, are you looking at break even at a gross line, EBITDA line, net line? Which line
EBITDA,
will you break even? EBITDA neutral?
yes.
And what kind of dealer margins are you building in that hypothesis?
So dealer margin, of course, the dealer margin is there. So I have to look at the details, but we think around, let me check, 2.5 to 3% margin on the vehicle, let's say 3%. But at the same time, so when it comes to dealer, we actually have prepared a standardized format for the dealers. So in which, let's say, current petrol, and I hope these numbers are correct. It's like preaching to the choir. So sharing these numbers with you. So I hope, the if the petrol or Bajaj or Hero dealership takes around 2 to 2.5 crores to establish, our plan is to do it for 40 lakhs. That is the target as of now. This will also include the 10 vehicles which they will have for selling. So it will be lower investment. The entry barrier is lower. And along with the margin, we will also give the opportunity to have parallel finance revenue streams. We are doing tie-up with financial companies, insurance companies, vehicle exchange companies, um, through which, and of course, we are also going to provide really good accessories through which they can have higher margin. Charging infrastructure, swapping infrastructure will also be made available. So what we are hoping is not just the vehicle, but hope they will also get other revenue streams to make margins.
And will you go for exclusive dealerships or multi-brand in
Exclusive,
EV or or existing dealers of two wheelers exclusive?
exclusive. Um, uh,
Uh,
the multi-brand definitely have their own challenges, but we want to keep it exclusive. We already have worked with architects to design or come up with a flexible parametric or flexible design where the dealership design is finalized upfront by us. It's a really, really attractive, very good looking model. Dealers will have to just, take that. We have done all the work for them upfront, even the furniture, the help
sure,
desk,
got it.
lot of things they will be able to
I,
just get.
are you looking at a one-step distribution, which is you sell to a dealer, dealer sells to the consumer, or are you looking at you to distributor to dealer? What kind of distribution links are you looking at?
We are hoping to have direct interaction with dealers, and for that we are partnered with the company to develop a software package which will connect us to the
Sure.
dealer directly.
And in the first year to sell the 5,000 units, and the second year to sell, however, as many you plan to sell, I think you said 15,000.
10 to
How
15,
many dealer? Sorry,
10 to 15, yeah.
10 to 15. So what? How many dealerships will have that throughput distributed over?
I am sorry, I don't have that number available right
Okay.
away.
I think the key thing I just am still searching. First of all, thank you so much for explaining so many things so nicely. I particularly like your idea of uh, modular manufacturing. I'm a very big fan of my modular manufacturing, which actually can then eventually lend your manufacturing strategy also to micro factories subsequently. If you decide to do that, you have not said you want to do that. I don't know
Okay.
whether you're evaluating or not, but a modular manufacturing strategy, because it is just five stations, like you said, it easily lends itself to micro manufacturing, micro factory, distributed manufacturing. So that's the advantage, which I'm sure you've thought about. Uh, I did think that uh, you may need to perhaps little bit more clarify, particularly for the consumer, your product portfolio strategy, uh, particularly if you're doing a scooter, motorcycle, 110, 125. Either you just make it all form factor agnostic and it's just about more power and more battery and more range and a little bit of styling difference and keep it simple. Otherwise, your number of SKUs over a small volume, while to sell every one unit is a hard task. So I will compliment you for every unit that you sell, as long as that unit sells and serves the customer, does not have a safety problem, does not have a quality problem. Every one unit sold is a success. So I appreciate that. But eventually, 5 to 15,000 units 2 years out, even if your distributor or dealer investment is kept at a moderate level, and I do believe it is possible to do moderated dealer investments and not go through the legacy benchmark of some of the companies that you mentioned. Uh, I am at the front end of saying that whole model deserves restructuring. So it's good that you're thinking, but even then, to get the right number of people, to get the staffing, to get the servicing, to get the momentum, to get the footfalls, the volumes that you are talking about uh, may be a challenge. So one thing that I would strongly recommend is think about what will prevent you from scaling up faster. Obviously, robustness of product and testing phase, etc., whatever you need to do that. I don't know how much testing you have done. If your vehicles are already on road and they are in a camouflage state and they are running dummy rides and they are carrying loads and all of that stuff, which probably must be happening because you're planning to launch the product in 60 days, 90 days from today. When I was launching my product 6 months before, they were all running on the road in one form or the other. So if you've done that, then look at a faster scale up, but don't scale up at the cost of quality without fail. Don't do that. Or if you think you need to do a slow ramp up for whatever the reasons are, either it is capital or it is quality or it is ability to ramp up. And ability to ramp up is either capital or skill, all of that stuff. In which case, don't distribute yourself too thin over too many cities, because otherwise the throughput that you will offer your dealers will become so small. And because you are saying they will not be multi-brand dealers, they will be exclusive, it means you would expect them to earn their bread, butter, and jam from your business. And at that small volume, I'm quite sure that with your capital funding, you are not going to give them a blank check. You may run the ship tightly, but you're not going to write a blank check for them. You're not going to underwrite their investments. I presume so. Uh, then the question is, and I'm saying the same thing as I said earlier very seriously, think about all three elements of the value chain. There is you right in the middle. You are the big bull. You are the OEM. You are going to conceive the design. You are going to take the risk of manufacturing, and you are going to take the risk of go to market. So you are the big bull. But both before and after the big bull is two critical links. There is the supply chain link, which will input to you, including if you're doing outsourced manufacturing, like you said, you will use some MNCs. And then there is the distribution link. Unless there is money for everybody, it becomes difficult. And because you won't have a large portfolio, legacy, etc., you don't want a good product to be starved of success because of lack of dealer support. So either you go direct sell, don't involve a dealer till you can make money for them, or you go narrow distribution footprint so that you are not distributing your small volumes over many. And I would strongly say at small volumes, don't do too many SKUs. Bet on one or two. Don't bet on four, five, and then within that you have accessories. You know, having been in that business for a few years of my life and having been in other businesses which also have parts, eventually it all sounds very sexy to add a lot of layers. But I can tell you when it comes to execution, and I know you're a very sound professional from what I could hear about your background. So just avoid some of these situations. Uh, I would love to see you ramping up to a much bigger volume. There is a very large throughput of two wheelers. You said your aspiration is 5%. A lot of times, if the brand takes too long to achieve a critical mass, the market is not very forgiving, because if you look at the external market environment, you are not the first mover advantage person. You are actually going to be player number 11 to 21. Uh, I'm yet not sure how will you distinguish yourself on your USPs. You have some ideas. So pick the biggest ones, choose a geography, choose very few dealers, and then see, can you go 5x of this volume? Not in year one, but by year two, year three, you should be your year five goals should actually become your year two, year three goals, provided you have robustness of product and service. Never compromise. So these would be my submissions. Uh, and then, of
Thank
course, other things will follow. So I think sharpen your USP,
you.
keep your footprint tight, keep your SKU number of SKUs tight, make sure there is enough throughput per dealer. Don't
Mm.
distribute a small volume over too many dealers. Don't go
Oh,
to too many geographies, and bring in a ramp up which is much bigger and faster. Uh, because remember, you are not the first mover, you are number 11 to 21, but that doesn't mean you cannot become one of the top three players. If you do a good job, if your scooters don't catch fire on the road, if your scooters don't have battery drainouts, if your scooters don't have charging issues, then and another offer that I would make to you is, I was asking you about your product design. I think you need to look at a little closely and bring down the weight of your products, if not at launch stage, but subsequently. Look at optimizing that, because A, that will directly impact your material cost of product and add to your gross margin, because the weights that you are mentioning are, for my liking, they're a little high. And secondly, they will straight away put pressure on your battery and motor to carry that extra load of the weight. You rather have the passenger being able to carry 10 kgs of load of milk and groceries rather than carrying 10 kilos extra of the motorcycle weight. So think about that a little bit. Since I asked you that question, I would offer. But yeah, I think exciting space. Why don't I turn it over back to you? We'll ask for a couple of comments on what I said, and then let's go to Nabil and hear his expert views.
Thank you so much, Ashok ji, for being so elaborate. And I noticed in entire conversation today in Vilas, he doesn't sound like, those startups who come and make all the exaggerated claim and hyperboles. The best part of Vilas I have noted is that he's very grounded. He is very strategic and detailed in his approach. That is very good about his company. The way he is looking at the product design to development, he's not exaggerating the volumes, he's not looking at the long. But as you also mentioned, that looking at the current scenario, the pace has to be faster than what Vilas is right now proposing. But I'm sure, but the best part is that he has kept his ground very strong. That is the most important part. He's trying to go phased wise, like he's first going to set up only in Chennai, so that's how his numbers are less, so obviously the dealer's number will be less, so the profitability will be decent. But 2 to 3% for electric vehicle I think is very less, looking at the even the investment, cut down investment, you are talking about 40, 50 lakh rupees. because in the traditional ICE engine, a major part of the profitability comes from services, whatever you add, but you will not put the parts, multiple parts. That parts is reduced to almost 1% of the ICE vehicle. So there you need to probably work it out in do some calculation on your cost reduction, as Ashok ji also mentioned. Then that will be a great help. You're talking about five. Your investment currently is bootstrap. That is 5 crore. You're talking about 35 crore of capex. So how are you going to raise that? How close are you with that? I know that your conservatism in terms of volume and growth is mainly, I think, bottlenecked because of capital. So how are you working on that? Because your credentials, your work experience, your product is looking very good, but I think the capital is probably one of the biggest hindrance. That's what I feel. Is that so?
Thanks, Nabil and Ashok, for the feedback and the kind words. I will quickly answer in, I think there are a few questions, so I will try to catch all of them. Very quickly, starting with Nabil, the question was how much we are trying to raise, and so we are trying to raise 35 crores, and we have received some interest. So actually there are two things which are happening. One is the interest which we have received have been more for a majority stakeholding or white labeling, for which we feel we are very strong potential company. We are would like to grow ourselves. So we were not interested in those offers. But on the other hand, with the recent events of delayed delivery to customers, and also the fire, the investors have also become very cautious. So everyone wants to wait and watch. So because of this, the process is very tedious now. So the due diligence is much longer than probably, or maybe it was always long. This is the first time we are doing it. But what we feel is we hear a
After
lot
fire
of
incident,
concern from.
the investors have become more conservative in terms of letting the money out. You feel so? It's very tough
Yes,
now.
yes, it is tough, and they are asking a lot of questions. But I think the fire is more recent. But before that, it was more of the delayed deliveries. It's now people want you to actually start selling before they fund you. So that's becoming an issue. So that is what is happening. But on the bottleneck for us has been supply chain. Frankly speaking, the COVID and the supply chain. Of course, COVID led to the supply chain issues. So that has been a big problem for us, and for that purpose also we have kept our volumes low. It's not that our ambitions were low. Our So in fact, in October when we did our soft launch, and we were also open for pre-booking. Let me share that with you frankly. But before we opened up the pre-booking, and we had the razor pay and everything ready 1 week before the launch, but we just to make sure, we, as a courtesy call, we visited our main supply partners, who also are supplying to Maruti Suzuki and Hero, Honda, and all the tier one suppliers. So we have some really good partners. All products are made in India by some really good. So we are, as a startup, I would say we are lucky to work with such big players. They were very open with us, and they said that we are not able to supply to Maruti Suzuki, Volkswagen, BMW, Hero. They are cutting their forecast by 40%. It will be very difficult to supply to you. So we had to completely stop the pre-booking, to the extent that now we are not planning to open pre-booking at all. We will, because there is still a lot of uncertainty in the market. Of course, the corona stopped and the war started. So everyone is keeping their fingers crossed. So that's why what we have said is, We will
Vilas,
manufacture.
also, I just want to understand one more thing. Apart from fire incidents, do you think the traditional players revealing their strong plans to be in EV, including Honda motorcycles and some other biggies, do you think that has also changed the direction of the wind?
I
Ashok, you can
can give a
comment.
I can give a generic answer and a very specific answer as well. For regarding Honda, they, when in their article they did not mention the date when they are going to launch. As far as I know, from their last year's article, it was supposed to be 2024. In the latest article which came out, they have not mentioned the date. So I still feel they have made that announcement, but it will still be out there somewhere 2024. Big companies take time. Regarding other OEMs, the market is so big. I think the demand is much more than the supply. And we are very um bold about our vehicle. In the pictures, when you see the vehicle, it may not look, but in reality, of course, media has their own, highlights regarding the vehicle. But when the actual rider sees the vehicle, they know they will buy the vehicle, or it's something beyond their reach. So when we
Oh,
go out for testing, uh, you know, uh, and our
we have
neighbor.
only four minutes left, Vilas. Let me go to Ashok and take his final comments on how do you see these development impacting the startup, and also, what would be your message to the investor? They really need to have a knee-jerk reaction on the EV fires, and they should completely stop believing in the startups? Will they not miss out some of the big opportunity there?
I think to go second first. I think as far as the investors are concerned, I think an approach of sound diligence is essential. I think they were perhaps being euphoric in the beginning. There is no doubt, as you know, Nabil, I'm a very passionate believer in the mega size opportunity of electric vehicles and clean mobility, whether it is two-wheeler form factor or three-wheeler or light commercial vehicles or fleets, etc. But at the same time, I mean, I think some level of soundness in thinking uh, and application of mind and due diligence is necessary, both by the founding team and by the investors. And maybe a little bit of that was missing on both sides, because everybody saw a drop of honey called electric, and anything electric sounds sexy, and everybody wanted to just say, I've put four investments and I've got five investors and all of that stuff. And I think that euphoria was not well placed. So I think diligence is well deserved, because it will improve the probability of success, and that will ensure that there is more stick capital coming, more stick founders coming, and more stick success coming. As far as the supply chain dynamics are concerned, I think there is a larger supply chain challenge, particularly in the electric, because I think from moving to naysayers to everybody wanting to do it, the reality is somewhere in between. And I think that needs calibration. I personally think the committed intentions of some of the large OEMs to be in this space is actually good news, because what that does is that brings a seriousness of investors to go co-invest in supply chain capacity, when five of the top OEMs out of five are now saying that they want to make electric the biggest bet. So I think the level of water will rise for everybody. It will benefit everybody. So I see the good news of large OEMs coming, but I think they will not move at the pace at which they are all talking. Some of them may fall behind on pace, and that is where I think brilliant startups like Aventose, led by Mr. Vilas Tank, will have the opportunity. And therefore, I would like to see him succeed with sound quality, sound strategy, but hopefully at a faster pace than he is planning. But I know, Vilas, it's not an easy journey. But strategically, if you can bring speed and scale at the right time, that would be great. I think 3 to 5 years may be a little. If I was to lead the ship, I would like to do it faster. But good luck. Good luck with everything. Uh, do a sound launch. Yeah, Nabil, I
May
hope
the speed come.
you know,
Yeah, thank you so much, Ashok. Thank you so much, Vilas, for joining in. May the speed come faster than you expected. And I hope all the startups and the EV manufacturer once again make this EV space sexier than even before it was. All these fire events came up and it started posing a lot of questions. But I'm sure they will come back with greater success. They will prove their products are equally good and they are able to achieve the market share they planned. With this, I end this episode of ET Auto Startup Adda, a station for innovation. See you next week with another startup founders and expert. Till then, take good care of yourself as the COVID cases are going up. Do wear your mask and take good care of yourself and your family. Thank you so much. See you next week on Tuesday.